Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Vachak Wadash, Kal Halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Vachak Wadash. Double honors to all the elders and apostles who teach well. Also shalom to all you Akim out there, preaching and teaching this word in truth and in sincerity, doing everything we can to make our call and election sure. Also shalom to all you Akim and you Akwatham out there who are receiving, learning, believing, and keeping the faith. Shalom to y'all and y'all families as well. It's the brother Malak back in the spirit once again to feed the lambs and the sheep of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. And speaking of families, today's lesson we're going to go into some salvation talk and about not allowing your family members to hold you back from salvation, man. Especially in these times that we're in right now, you're going to have a lot of family members who are going to fall into the snares, man. Who are going to, a lot of your family members, a lot of my family members, who are going to fall into the snares, who are going to take the jab, who are going to take the mark, who are going to, say that they have faith, but they're really putting their trust in Esau, and you can't you can't allow your love for them to outweigh your love for this truth, to outweigh your love for Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. You got to be solely focused on this truth because honestly, like Yahweh Shai said, which we're going to get into, if you don't, you're not worthy, and we're trying to make ourselves worthy to be in those chariots, to be fit for the kingdom. That's our ultimate goal in this truth is to be members of that remnant that's going to make it up out of here, that 144,000. That's our ultimate goal in this truth. If you're really in this truth, so it's just something that we gotta be constantly, cognizant of, not allowing our families to persuade us in any certain direction because they're going to use a lot of different ways, to try to do so. So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 32. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven. Obviously, these are the words of Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is saying that, if we don't confess Yahweh Shai before men, if we don't confess Yahweh Shai before men, he's going to deny us to the Father, man. He's going into verse 33, but whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. So Yahweh Shai is going to, we gotta confess the name of Yahweh Shai, even to people, and the doctrine and the word and the spirit of Yahweh Shai to people, even when they don't want to listen, man. You're gonna have a lot of your family members who are going to tell you things like, "Oh, well, I prayed to God, and they said it's okay to get the jab, and they said it's okay to do this and do that. They said it's okay to," and they're going to expect you to be on that same wavelength as well. That's the thing. They're going to try to put that same spirit onto you, and they're going to be looking at you weird when you don't want to do so. Like this book of 2nd Ezra says, there should be great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. That's just not going to come from the UN soldiers and the powers that be and the other nations and things of that nature. The elites of this society. Their drone soldiers or things of that. It's gonna come from them too, but it's also and their media, by them trying to demonize the men of the Lord openly in the media. But it's also gonna come from, your family members, man. When you show that you're anti-system, they're gonna call you things. I've been called things like, and I know not just myself, but a lot of you other brothers as well, been called things like you're a rebel. You're so against the system all the time. I personally, just a little testimony. I had a personal family member of mine who told me that I was playing with God. She told me I was playing with God because I didn't want to wear a mask. So, and that's not no direct diss against her, but this truth comes first. She told me, and those are the things, those are the kind of snares that they're going to those mental attacks they're going to try to use to get you brothers, man. Because ultimately, the Satan is working through them. Satan is trying to work through them to get to you because Satan already got them. It's because honestly, man, they may say that they love God and Jesus and all that, but of course we know that God and Jesus are false titles. But the Most High is also not with these religions. These religions, especially Christianity, which I'm sure a lot of you brothers grew up in, that goes back to Tammuz worship. The Most High is not with these religions, man. But they believe in them, and they're going to try to impart that spirit on you, which is why they say you're playing with God if you don't want to take the jab, if you don't want to wear a mask, if you don't take this C-19 seriously, You know, if you just look at it as for what it is, as a gateway to enter the mark of the beast system. They're gonna tell you things like, you're playing around with the Lord. You don't take this seriously. You're such a rebel. The Lord's gonna judge you. They're gonna say things like that to try to get to you. Because that's not even them talking. That's Satan talking through them. But we got to stand firm, like the scriptures say. We got to confess Yahweh Shah before men. We got to tell them the right doctrine, the spirit of Yahweh. We got to have the spirit of Yahweh Shah, confessing the doctrine of the Father all the time. That's what we got to do to our family members, even when they try to demonize us. This is verse 34. And when you go into that word confess, like also another word for confess is acknowledge. In the Greek, the Greek word for confess, one of the Greek words for confess is homeologous. That goes into acknowledge. We got to acknowledge Yahweh Shah before men, even people that we loved in our families, that may be trying to take you away. You got to acknowledge him, and acknowledge the proper doctrine. Acknowledge Yahweh, the spirit of you, have the spirit of Yahweh Shah to acknowledge the proper doctrine of the Father, because that's what Yahweh Shah did. Even Yahweh Shah said, "Why call me perfect? No one's perfect but the Father." So we'll have the spirit of Yahweh Shah acknowledging the Father's doctrine, before men, even people of our family, man, who don't want to hear it. And we have to take on that ridicule from them. They're going to talk shit about us behind their back. Behind your back. They're going to talk to other family members about you. Other family members are going to be talking about you, cousins, aunties, uncles. They're going to all be talking about you and try to make little smart remarks to you. But you got to stay firm, man. You can't allow those snares to take you away from your salvation, man, because you got a different vision than they do. They still think Babylon's going to continue. You want Babylon to fall. Or at least you should if you're really in this truth. So you got to stay the course. This is Matthew 10:34. Think not I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be they of his own household. Salakia. See, the thing about it is, Yahweh Shah is telling us that he's not coming, to bring everyone together. The truth doesn't bring people together. It separates people. And you got to be willing to take on that spirit, man, of embracing that separation from people that you love, man. You can't let them take you away from your ultimate goal, which is salvation. You got to be willing to stand alone. You got to be willing to walk that straight gate when others aren't willing to walk that gate with you. It's called a narrow path for a reason. Only one person can enter at the same time. Only one person can enter that gate at a time. And sometimes people are going to want to take that wide gate because that straight gate seems too, honestly, it requires too much discipline. It seems too hard. It's too against the world. It's not comfortable. The wide path seems more comfortable to people. It requires less, being against the world's spirit. It requires you to sacrifice less, And we got to be willing to do that even when other people are not willing to tag along with us. Your family members, your friends. We got to be willing to walk this path alone. If that be our lot, and the Most High just has the spirit on our family members to just not, get with this doctrine, we got to be willing to walk it alone. If the Most High, in terms of like family members and all that, what I'm saying? We got to be willing to walk it alone aside from our family. You may be your only, and oftentimes, honestly, man, you are probably the only member of your family that's in this truth. This is a remnant for a reason. You're probably the only member of your family that the Most High has allowed his spirit through Yahweh Shah to touch you, to allow you to embody it. That's a blessing, man, and we can't take that lightly. So with that blessing, we got to do the things that we have to do, even if it comes at the expense of losing our loved ones. Not having a relationship with them, having them look at us as weird and out there and a conspiracy theorist and all that. You got to be willing to bear that cross alone, because it says, like Yahweh Shah said, he's going to separate the family members, man. Father against daughter, mother against daughter-in-law, father against son, all that, man. Yahweh Shah is going to do. And a man's foe shall be there of his own household. So even people in your home are not, if you're a man of this truth, people in your home are not going to be messing with you like that. They may want you to still celebrate these pagan holidays. You try to tell them what it is. They still want to eat swine. They want to take the jab. They don't want to listen to you. And you got to be willing. And because they don't want to listen to you, they're going to think you're coming against them. So they're going to throw insults at you to counteract that, because they don't want to accept what you're saying in their spirit, what you're saying to them. Because what you're saying to them is a reflection on their actions. And what do people do when they feel attacked? They attack back. So they're going to throw a lot of jabs and insults at you. But you got to stay the course. Because and that's the importance of knowing these prophecies, because we know that Yahweh Shah said a man's foe shall be there of his own household. So we should expect that. So when, that female family member of mine told me, you're too much of a rebel, you're always against the system, you're playing with God, I understood that, hey, that's just prophecy. Because Yahweh Shah said he's going to sit the house of Israel. Yahweh Shah said, a man's foe shall be there of his own household, And of course, the Most High said he's going to sit the house of Israel, in the book of Amos, I believe. So understanding that those things are going to happen, we got to just keep fighting. We got to fight the good fight of faith, man. Because going further into the chapter, this verse 37, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So if you care more about what your mom, your dad, your cousin, your grandma, your sister, your brother, you care more about what they think of you than the Most High, than Yahweh Shai, then you're not worthy of him. You're not worthy to be a disciple. You're not worthy to be a servant of the Most High. You're not worthy to be a disciple of Yahweh Shai. You're not worthy to get to embody this truth. You're really not. And that's a real gut check for us, because a lot of people who want to embrace that spirit of pride in this truth, that's a big one right there, because that just goes to show you that you got to humble yourself before the Most High and Yahweh Shai at every instance. It's never about us. It's always about Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Always. It's never about us. So that's a real gut check, because if you don't make it about him first and foremost, you don't make it about the Father, Yahweh Shai, first and foremost. The Father and Yahweh Shai. I don't want to get y'all to get confused with that. If you don't make it about the Father and Yahweh Shai first and foremost, then you're not worthy. It's like you're a 2/3 at that point. You're no different from the Christians. You're no different from the atheists. You're no different from any of these niggas in the world. Because with the knowledge that the Most High gave you, the knowledge that the Most High imparted on you, you weren't willing to be 100% for that, even if it caused you to be at variance with people that you love. So that shows that you don't love the Most High as much as you say you do. Just being real. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. We don't take our proverbial cross. We don't bear that cross. We're not worthy to be, a friend of Yahweh Shai. Like Yahweh Shai said, he doesn't, if we hearken unto the things he tells us, he doesn't call us servants, he calls us friends. We're not worthy to be a friend of Yahweh Shai. If we don't take up that cross and follow after him, to follow after his spirit, follow after the ways that he taught us, which is the ways of the Heavenly Father. And he that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall save it. And you're trying to save your life because you're trying to save face in the name, you're trying to save face in the face of people who their life is in the world. So you're trying to save your life in the world, man. If you allow them to sway you, you allow them to you allow them to have you get off your square, man, get off your center. That's why we got to be occupied in this truth all the time, because that wide gate, includes family members. It includes people that we love that are going to try to tell us that we should do this, that, and the third. They're going to try to tell us, oh, they prayed for this and this happened to me and all that, because they don't realize they're praying to demons. But you know the truth. When they say in the name of Jesus, they're saying in the name of a devil. Cesare Borgia. But they don't understand that. When they say God, they can be saying anybody. You know, they can be saying anything and anybody. They don't know what they're really praying to. They don't know really. They don't really understand the power that they're supposed to be praying to, the Most High Yahweh, in the name of the true biblical Messiah Yahweh Shai. They don't understand that. So when they're going to come to you and say, "Oh, God told me it's okay to take the jab. God told me it's okay to do what I need to do so I can live it up in the world. God told me that I need to wear a mask everywhere I go and to be afraid of this." You know, they're going to try to use, and people in my family have done that. They're going to try to use those things to get you. And it's not, like I was saying earlier, through the Spirit, it's not them saying it. It's Satan using them to say those things to get to you, because Satan's already got them. Because they don't understand. Because they're praying to Satan without them even realizing it, because they're not saying the true names. You know, they're praying in the name of Jesus, which is a devil. You know, so Satan's already got their spirit. You know, but Satan wants you. He wants the ones who the Most High is working with. You know, Satan wants to tempt you. So you got to be the one that stays the course. You know, that follows that straight path. You know, I also want to get the book of Romans, chapter 16 and verse 17. "Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them." So what is the doctrine that we've learned? It's this truth. We've all learned this truth some way, shape, or form, whether it be brothers that learned it from brothers on the streets, from brothers teaching on the internet, or even if you were born in this truth and maybe your mom or your dad, was able to teach you this truth when you were young. You know, and people say, "Oh, women can't teach." No, women not most supposed to not teach a mass body of people in a church setting. And when I say church, I'm not talking about, you know, the churches of this world. I mean, when two are gathered in the name of Yahweh Shai. You know, but women can teach their children, obviously, just to put that out there. You know, so if your mom or your dad taught you this truth when you were young, you know, or if you learned it on the street, you learned it on the internet, you know, whatever way you learned this truth, however the Most High showed you the ways of this truth, a friend, you know, however the Most High showed you the ways of this truth, you know, whatever way the Most High used to call you out the world, to put you embark the spirit of truth on you. You know, that's the doctrine that you have learned. You know, so if they're not coming in the same spirit, if they're not trying to be in the same doctrine as you, you got to mark them which cause division. You got to avoid them. You know, that's not saying you got to hate them. That's not saying you got to, you know, you don't hate them. You hate the things that they do. But you don't hate them. You know, that's not saying you got to disrespect them. We still got to obey the law. The law tells us to honor our father and mother. So we still got to honor them. We still got to respect them. You know, but if they're coming in a different doctrine, you don't go in the same way as their doctrine. You don't let them try to put their silly doctrine on you. You know, you don't do that. You don't allow that doctrine that they come with to allow you to go in the direction that you know you're not supposed to do things, to sin in ways you know you're not supposed to sin. It's a sin to put cuttings in our flesh, pursuing the Leviticus, the 21st chapter, man. You know. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get that for any of you brothers out there who don't know that. It's Leviticus 21 and verse 5. They shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. So just focus on this, in this context, the cuttings in the flesh. So if you got family members that are telling you, "Oh, God told me it's okay to take the jab," why would that can't be the Most High of the Bible. You know, because the Most High of the Bible doesn't change, and He told us it's to not make any cuttings in our flesh. You know, so that goes to show you right there that they don't understand who they're really praying to. They don't understand who they're really they don't understand they're really communicating with Satan, man. They don't understand that, but you understand that. So all you can do is warn them. But if they don't want to listen, they try to get you to go in their direction and try to throw ad hominem attacks on you because of it. You got to stay the course, man. Like we read in Romans. You know, you got to avoid them, man. You know, you got to avoid them. because they're making offenses contrary to the doctrine. They're coming in an opposing spirit of this true word. Verse 18, for they that are such serve not our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach, but their own belly. And how do they do that? Because they're not willing to deny themselves fully for Yahweh Shah. They serve their own belly. They serve their own lust. They want to fulfill their appetite of the world. You know? Oh, my job told me to do this, so I got to do it. You know, but we as true brothers, true righteous men of this truth, we know if a job tell you got to take the vaccine, man, you gotta go. If a job tell you to take the jab, and you got to leave that job. It is what it is. And we rely on the Most High to get us through that. Whichever way, and we don't know that yet, but whichever way the Most High, he gives us clues and signs, but we don't know exactly how the Most High is going to provide for his elect. Lord willing, be of those men. But we got to trust in that. But see, they don't trust in that because they don't have the true spirit of faith, because they're not actually praying to the true Most High of Israel in the name of his true son. They think they're doing that, but they're not. You know, so they don't really serve Yahweh Shah. You know, and by good works and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. So you're a simple man if you allow their speeches to deceive you. You know, you're a simple man if you allow their ad hominem attacks to deceive you. We got to be strong in this truth, man. You know, we can't be weak in the faith. You can't let the hearts of the deceived, the ones who think that they're praying to the true Most High when they're not, they think they're praying to the true name of the Messiah when they're not, you know. So they're deceived. But if you allow them to deceive you through their deception, then you're simple, you know, and their fair speeches. You know, you allow they try to sit you down and tell you, hey, we don't think you're going in the right direction. What is your purpose in life? You know, you don't seem like you want to do this, you want to do that. You can't allow them to deceive. You can't allow that to deceive you because you know your true mission. You know. So when times get hard and you're not gonna take the jab, and they're sitting there trying to tell you, you know, you need to get this, you need to get that in the world, because they're worldly. You got to stand firm, and you can allow their deception for what they think the world is about to become, or what the world is, because you know the world to become that's coming into the world we're going into, but they don't know that, so they're deceived in that way as well. So you can't allow them to further to get your heart, man. You know, you can't allow that. I want to go to the book of Luke. This is the book of Luke, chapter 12. Let's go down to verse 51. This is the Yahweh Shah again. Suppose ye are come to give peace on earth. I tell you, nay, but rather division. Once again, this truth is not supposed to bring people together. It's supposed to divide. There's only a remnant that's going to be saved. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter-in-law against the mother, and the daughter against the mother, and the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And why is that going to be? Because a lot of people, when this time comes, they don't have the true knowledge, understanding, and wisdom of these scriptures. So they're going to be at odds with each other because everyone's going to have their own opinion about what's going on instead of having the true facts of what's happening via the scriptures, because they don't understand these prophecies that are coming into effect. You know, but you do. So you can't allow their confusion to spill onto you. You know? Because we know that this is what Yahweh Shah said is going to happen. It's going to be a lot of chaos. It's going to be a lot of division. You know? This world pushes that globalism, let's bring everyone together spirit. We know, and most of our family members have bought into that. They buy into the Black Lives Matter, the Joe Biden, the Kamala Harris. You know, they buy into that, man. They buy into the globalist, let's bring everyone together spirit. They don't understand that this truth is not about bringing together. They don't understand. They don't understand the truth, period. But they don't understand that the Bible is not about bringing everyone together. You know, they fell into the world spirit of the pagan view of the Bible being that globalism spirit of bringing together that hermetic philosophy of the bringing together of opposites, bringing together of people who are supposed to be opposing of each other. You know, in this society, you know, so we can't allow our spirit to get intertwined with that. And we gotta keep, the Most High and Yahweh Shai at the forefront of our mind. We gotta keep confessing Him to the other people, to ourselves, in our prayers. So that way the Most High keeps His Spirit on us. So just you can't allow your family members to take you away from salvation. They're gonna try to use a lot of snares, nets to grab you, ad hominem attacks. Telling you that you don't really know the Bible. You're confused. You're spewing hate speech. You're trying to play with God. Like they're gonna try to say all kind of things to you, man. Why do you care so much about the Most High? I had a female tell me that. You're gonna have a lot of people who are gonna try to demonize you in these last days. Actually, let me go ahead and get that scripture, 2nd Esdras, man, because that's powerful to bring out. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, and verse 70. Let's go ahead and just read down. For there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Now, I know the scripture's talking about the context of like martial law and things of that nature, and soldiers coming in and taking people out of their homes and FEMA camps and all that. But I want to focus on the mental aspect of it this time. And there'll be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. That's also going to happen in the homes of people as well. If you are somebody, and when I say home, I don't mean necessarily that you're directly living with your family, but like in terms of communication with your family, in the mental home that we all share with our family members, there's going to be a great insurrection upon that as well. You're going to, there should be like madmen sparing none, but spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. They're going to spoil and destroy. They're going to try to spoil and destroy you mentally. They're going to try to spoil your mind with this world doctrine instead of being focused on this truth, instead of the prophecies. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. They're going to cast you. They're going to cast you out of the mental home that we all share with our family members. They're going to try to cast you out because you're the one that's opposite of what they're thinking in the world. You're the one that's not going along with the same system as them. So they're going to think of you as unstable. You're going to be the odd man out, because they're trying to figure out the things that they need to do to survive in this world. When your mind is like, I'm okay dying for this truth. I'm okay being taken to the FEMA camps. I'm okay being in the wilderness. Understanding that's just the will of the Most High, whatever your particular lot is as a man. Then shall they be known who are my chosen. They shall be tried in the fire. So then shall be known who are they chosen. So when your family members, cast you out of that mental home that we all share, they try to ostracize you. They try to tell you you're crazy, things of that nature. Lord willing, we be of those men. You're going to be found. You're going to be known as one of the Lord's chosen because you survived that mental battle right there. You survived that spiritual warfare coming from high places because it's coming from Satan. It's not really them talking. It's Satan trying to work through them. You survived that. You got through that and stayed the course. You didn't go back into the world because because you didn't let their attacks on you get to you and phase you because your mind was focused on the Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah first and foremost. And these prophecies. And acknowledging the name and professing this truth and trying to tell them this truth even when they didn't want to listen. Not allowing the things that they say to really get to you. And they shall be tried as gold is tried in the fire. So then we're going to go through that trial period. The Most High got to test us to see if we're worthy. So, I just wanted to bring that out as well. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Don't allow your family members to take you away from salvation. I want to give all the praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem B'chak Wadash. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying for the hopeful elect, and Shalom.